ang talagang magsasuffer sa pag-ano ng technology, yun talagang matatanda.
Kung naman pinag-aralan yan nung kami, hindi tinuro sa amin nung kami nag-aaral.
Hindi ba kasi sinasabi, you're old enough, hindi mo na kayang sumabay?
It was a challenge. I mean, it's not something that was bothersome.
Yes, it's complicated.
Did you know that COVID-19 is the pandemic that's currently causing disruption worldwide?
And did you also know that this pandemic is now the current source of multiple problems people face in their daily lives?
Yes.
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 The pandemic has affected us in many ways, mostly by taking away our lives, our jobs, our businesses, but most importantly, our freedom to be able to often go outside and get through the work that needs to be done. Now, this serves as a problem faced by every one of us, but especially for those clients and workers who are not exactly used to work from home. A majority of office-based workers now use these online platforms as a way to work from home without having to go into the traditional office environment. There is also a dramatic shift from in-person shopping to online shopping, and most people saw these online platforms as an opportunity to open a business and become an online seller. However, navigating through these technologies and these applications also opened newfound problems arising from the many workers and sellers due to the lack of skills, knowledge, and information regarding on how to properly utilize these programs.
A great example is the distance learning program from the Department of Education. They decided to implement distance learning as an alternative way to provide quality education to every student despite that the whole country is facing a pandemic. Another example is consumers are relying on the digital world more than before. That means businesses are forced to adapt their strategies and shift towards the digital transformation with much more urgency than before.
It's a very sad reality, knowing that many of our educators, sellers, workers are now hesitant because they're not skilled or used to this kind of technology, which is now become a very vital part of their job. And especially for educators who carry the responsibility of teaching multiple classes daily. It's not a stretch to say that some are struggling.
Problems such as technical difficulties on the teachers, sellers, or workers' side disrupts the delivery of information being given to their students or their clients, which oftentimes becomes a barrier often experienced with distress.
But in the end, they always take the blame, which is why we conducted an online interview with some teachers and an online seller so that they may share their experiences and that we may know their experiences with these technologies and these applications that they use for their livelihoods.
Panahon ngayon, napaka-importanting may knowledge ka about using computer and cellphone. Para sa akin, bilang online business woman, napaka-importanting alam mong gamitin ito. Napakalaking tulong sa iyo sa pag-aano ng mga customer mo para ma-inform mo sila kung ano yung paninda mo, ganon. Mas convenient ngayon kasi malalaman mo na agad kung anong kailangan ng mga customer mo, nakakausap mo sila through cellphones lang. May i-offer mo yung kung ano yung product na meron ka. Makilala ka kaagad. Ay focus mo lang sa online business mo, sa mga online groups. Alam na nila kung ano yung, tapos pati yung mga product mo, may mga mag-order na sa'yo.
Technology has been beneficial to me because the speed and efficiency of how I work has greatly increased, and it has successfully made the communication aspect much easier. So, sa umpisa mahirap eh. It's really difficult. Kasi hindi naman tayo sanay ng online communication, di ba? Usually kasi ginagamit natin yung online, mga pastime lang natin. Pero nowadays, ito na yung ginagamit natin for means of sa work, lalo na sa school. So, nung una mahirap. It's really complicated. As time goes by, medyo na-adapt na rin yung new normal. Because yung mga trainings na na-attenan, yung mga seminars, sa tulong nun, hindi siya ganun ka-complicated. Nung umpisa lang, yes.
Yes, it's complicated with a particular reason that it's complicated rather than it's being simplified. It's complicated in a sense that labor, what do I mean by labor? Labor is a type of work that usually its main purpose is to have an income to serve as your means of living. So it's a forced type of work in order to provide your basic necessity. And based on the idea of labor, it used to be manual labor only needed the full force of the body. Like, well, we still have it right now. Nowadays, we have the construction workers, we have the fishermen, who still use their full bodies in order to work, for example, in a sense of labor. But now, in consideration of the pandemic, we're now in a situation that we are forced, and I think not only here in the Philippines, but also in other parts of the world, that we have to, given the scenario and given the protocols, we have to work inside our houses, in front of our devices and our gadgets in order to continue this labor. It is complicated in a sense that there are no other options rather than relying on the use of technology when committing to a labor.
The shift in technology has actually affected us because we are the workforce today. We are the people who are making the economy move. And since we are already in the age of information technology, whether you are a teacher, you are a bank employee, you are a BPO worker, and you are an established member of the organization, I mean that you are already occupying significant position, it's very important that the employee, the people of my generation should be able to do that. Because yes, we started with the traditional way of doing work, such as the pen and paper and all the more brute type of technology, the simpler types of technology, but with the advent of more advanced technologies, have to adapt, and we have always been adapting.
I think technology will be part of our life. Mahirapan ka nang i-separate yan. Ang talagang magsasuffer kapag ng technology, yun talagang matatanda at may edad. Yun talaga. Kasi pag naganap ka ngayon ng trabaho, dilitaw at dilitaw yan. Hahanapan ka ng mga employer mo. Ano yung mga computer applications na kaya mong i-manipula, ano yung mga apps na alam mo, etc. Ano yung mga computer skills mo. Puro yun na ngayon ang hinahanap pag nagtrabaho kayo. So, if your question kung makakasabay ako o kaya ko bang sumabay, kailangan at dapat sumabay ka. Kasi yan ang takbo ng panahon natin ngayon. Especially in this time of pandemic, we cannot do away with this kinds of technology. Talagang ito lang ang paraan na gagamitin natin, especially like itong ginagamit natin, Zoom, may mga iba't ibang mga application na ginagamit natin sa work from home na. So I think ako sa edad ko naman, sa ability ko, kung yung question mo kung makakasabay ako, palagay ko makakasabay naman ako.
Technology presents new teaching and selling methods, supporting the practices of teachers and online sellers, providing opportunities in the facilitation and assessment of online remote learning and selling, which leads them to become successful.
Thus, we must provide the support they need in order to rise up and face the current challenges presented by the pandemic and enhance collaboration among their peers. It will help reduce educational disruption, and they can possibly learn new various strategies and procedures on how to engage themselves in utilizing the product of technology.
In today's generation, the shortcomings and effects of the technological literacy of the previous generations need to be properly addressed.
As a matter of fact, not all people are experts in managing technology themselves. With a lot of changes in the existence of technology, it also changes the procedures on how to utilize it properly and easily.
That is why we should always keep in mind that students, consumers, or whoever aren't the only ones having a difficult time. These teachers, these online sellers, these online workers in general are also having a difficult time with this situation that we all face today due to the pandemic. And that is why we need to learn to understand one another. We need to learn to understand each other's situations so that we may help one another.